11 at 11, President Joe Biden testing positive for COVID for the second time this month. Health officials weighing in on how this happened. Plus, a triple shooting in Pawtucket, why police say the victims aren't cooperating. And later, someone is having a really good day today after winning the Mega Millions jackpot. How long that winner has to turn themselves in to get that cash reward. We'll get to those stories shortly, but first tonight on ABC 6 News 11 at 11, devastating news out of West Greenwich. 2 men are dead after drowning in a pond. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Olivia DeRocha. Now we're told those 2 men are both in their early 20s from Providence. ABC 6 News reporter Dominique Turner gives us an update on this investigation.
Lake Mishnock Fire Chief Peter Gardner says 2 people were found under 8 feet of water. Officials have been pretty tight-lipped, but so far we're told these men were in their early 20s.
An investigation underway after 2 young men drowned in a West Greenwich pond Friday night. Rescue crews rushing to the West Greenwich Park and Ride after reports of 2 people drowning in Phelps Pond. The pond pushed back behind brush near the parking lot. A witness telling ABC 6 Friday night he pulled over after seeing the commotion and was horrified to see what was going on.
The police officer jumped in, started searching for the bodies that went under. The family kept saying there's two. The police officer who went in first found one of the bodies underwater about 20 feet from shore. The fireman tied a rope. I also helped pull the body out. They started immediately doing CPR. They pulled the second individual out, and they were performing CPR. They had machines on. The poor family was frantic.
Lake Mishnock Fire Chief Peter Gardner says the 2 men were in their early 20s and pulled from the water around 7:45. That's when first responders started CPR. They were both rushed to Kent Hospital, where they were pronounced dead. A third person was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Saturday, ABC 6 News crews returning to the scene, finding 7-year-old Danalise Escubero Medina and her father. The 2 spending the day in the sun, but stopping at Phelps Pond first to pay their respects after hearing of the traumatic drowning.
I'm sorry that happened to you guys, and I'm really sorry. I feel really bad.
Escubero Medina says she loves to swim, using floaties and making sure her friends and family are nearby. Her message to those who lost loved ones.
So for those kids that die, I'm really sad that happened to them, but they're safe in the sky with God.
As of right now, police have not released the names of those 2 victims. We'll keep you updated as this develops, both on air and online at abc6.com. For now, in the newsroom, I'm Dominique Turner, ABC 6 News.
And now to developing news out of Pawtucket. Pawtucket police increasing street patrols after 3 people were shot. Last night, police say they responded to Coleman Street for multiple shots fired. 3 victims were located on the scene, and they were all taken to the hospital and are expected to be okay. Now, officials say the shooting appears to be targeted, as 2 of the victims are well known to local law enforcement agencies for various violent activities. No witnesses are cooperating, police say, and anyone with any information is asked to call police. New Bedford police nabbing a man for trafficking fentanyl. Police say 30-year-old Jesus Santiago was arrested at his home on Malden Street after a lengthy drug investigation. Now, during the search, detectives located just shy of 30 grams of fentanyl, over 60 grams of marijuana, digital scales, and over $1,500 in cash. Now, police say Santiago already has an open case in Bristol's Superior Court for conspiracy to violate controlled substance laws from an incident just last year. Aquapalooza is back, and local law enforcement, Marine units, even the Coast Guard preparing earlier today in anticipation of large crowds out in the water. Thousands were expected to hit the waters of Potter's Cove off of Prudence Island. Now, even with no restrictions like we've seen in the past years, police say they have a no-tolerance policy. Let's switch up the conversation and get a check on the forecast right now. ABC 6 Storm Tracker meteorologist Kelly Bates is in the Weather Center. Kelly, it was a nice day if you were out in a boat today, huh?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I would easily call it a top 10 weather day for the summer season. And you know what? We get to do it all over again tomorrow. It should be a splendid one. And we're already heading there. Temperatures are coming down through the 70s, and we're going to be bottoming out in the lower 60s. So it should be very comfortable. If you wanted to let Mother Nature cool your room, you can give the AC a little bit of a break during the overnight. We're at 72 right now in Providence. Our dew point is hanging out in the 50s. Super comfortable. We love to see that this time of year. Winds moving in from the west west at 5 miles per hour. Satellite radar is checking clear, and you know what? Our winds are going to continue to slacken. And when that happens, we create a very still column of air that allows any radiation we got from the sun during the day to go right back out into space pretty quickly. And that's the mechanism that's going to drop our temperatures into the 60s and lower 60s for many areas as we start tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow is going to be like that perfect morning if you want to take your cup of coffee outside and have it out there. It's going to be just splendid. And enjoy it while you can, because we will be bringing both the heat and humidity back as soon as we start the work week. We'll talk more about that in just a couple minutes. Olivia?
All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you, Kelly. Turning now to national headlines. President Joe Biden once again testing positive for COVID-19. The president had tested negative for several days before ending his isolation earlier this week, but now appears to be experiencing a rebound case after taking the antiviral Paxlovid. Here's ABC with the details.
The White House says President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19 again.
Tested positive this morning. Going to be working from home for the next couple of days. And feeling fine. Everything's good. But Command and I got a little work to do.
Biden initially tested positive for COVID on July 21st. He was treated with Paxlovid, an antiviral given to those with mild to moderate symptoms who are considered high risk for severe illness. His doctor says the president had tested negative for 4 days before ending his 5-day isolation on Wednesday. The doctor adding in a memo that Biden continues to do quite well and there is no reason to reinitiate treatment at this time. This latest positive test result is considered a rebound case, which refers to a relapse of COVID-19 some patients deal with after taking Paxlovid. Dr. Anthony Fauci experienced a similar rebound case.
It almost invariably is just a reversion of the test to positive for a day or two, and perhaps some increase in minor symptoms. But it has not historically been followed by severity of disease.
The president now once again isolating.
It's still unclear whether or not people who have a rebound positive test after taking Paxlovid are contagious. But the CDC does recommend that as a precaution, people assume that they're contagious and go back into isolation.
Meanwhile, First Lady Jill Biden is spending the weekend in Delaware. She has tested negative for COVID-19 consistently since she last saw the president on July 20th. Christine Sloan, ABC News, New York.
And this is new tonight on 11 at 11. The New York City Department of Health declared a public health emergency due to the monkeypox outbreak. Now, at the epicenter of the outbreak, city health officials estimate that 150,000 plus New Yorkers could be at a risk for monkeypox exposure. New York becomes the second major U.S. city to do so, following San Francisco's lead on Thursday. New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state disaster emergency on Friday over monkeypox to strengthen ongoing efforts to confront the outbreak. New York accounts for more than 1 in 4 U.S. monkeypox cases. Now, according to the CDC, there are now more than 5,000 confirmed cases in the United States. One winning ticket was sold in last night's Mega Millions drawing in Illinois, but there's no word yet on who that winner is. I'll take the money if they don't want it. The jackpot, $1.3 billion, was the third largest in Mega Millions history. The winning ticket was sold at a Speedway gas station outside of Chicago, which now will get $500,000 as a prize for selling that ticket. That person who has the ticket has 1 year to claim the prize, but only 60 days if they want the cash option. That would be a nice $780 million. Coming up after the break, total devastation in Kentucky. The latest on the rising death toll after a series of flash floods. Plus, what brand name sunscreen is getting yanked from the shelves over concern of cancer-causing chemicals? And if you think airplane seats are just a little too small, you're definitely not alone. Why airline officials say that could be changing soon. Stick with us.
No matter what room you're in, get fast and reliable Wi-Fi with Cox Panoramic Wi-Fi.
Have you been in an accident and feel like your life is spinning out of control? Call the Rhode Lawyer.
I'm attorney Larry Signori, the Rhode Lawyer, the lawyer that comes to you.
The Rhode Lawyer, 401-273-3000.
Ever since Mom moved back in, we play cards.
I even let him win sometimes.
Mom always said it doesn't matter what cards you get, it's how you play your hand. We got dealt a pandemic and delivered one of the nation's best economic recoveries.
Pretty good.
We got rid of the car tax.
Finally.
And we're upgrading affordable housing and passing gun safety laws that keep our families safe. Not bad for a year and a half.
Not bad for a governor that lives with his mother.
I can't look at the rocket launch, the trophy wives of the astronauts, and I won't listen to their words, 'cause I like birds.
Visit your Providence Volkswagen dealer today to learn more about our vehicle lineup.
Only two things are forever: love and Liberty Mutual customizing your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. And if anyone objects to this marriage, Kevin, no, not today. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Welcome back. At least 25 people are dead following the catastrophic flooding in eastern Kentucky, and that number is likely to rise with many people still missing. The governor toured some of the hardest hit areas by air on Friday because it was too dangerous to do so on land. Here's ABC's Dave Packer.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear got a first-hand look at some of the devastation on Friday from the air. Hundreds of people have been rescued from the floodwaters. Many of those rescues had to be carried out by air. Paul Francis and his wife were rescued on a jet ski.
We came out of the house and it was so swift that even a jet ski was hard for him to handle, and he took us out one at a time.
First responders continue to search for those still missing.
Continue to pray for the families that have suffered an unfathomable loss. Please also pray for first responders. The mission's been especially challenging, and what they're experiencing firsthand is tremendously stressful and difficult.
Thousands are without power, but service should be restored to most areas by Sunday.
Yeah, everybody needs power, but as it gets hot this next week, it could create its own emergency.
Many residents are now staying in shelters.
I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have no place to live now or anything.
Hyndman Mayor Tracy Neese and several members of his family all lost their homes.
I live in the first house. My son lives in the second. My mother-in-law and father-in-law in the third. My wife's aunt in the fourth.
This town is economically depressed, right? Hard time.
Absolutely.
It's not the kind of place where people lose something, they just go out and buy it again.
No, we were a coal booming town, and it's all went away. I've talked with multiple people in the town, and that's what they say. They say, what do we do?
The president has approved a disaster declaration for the region, paving the way for federal aid and support to start to help these communities. Meanwhile, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is asking for donations, water, cleaning supplies, anything anyone can spare. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
All the victims injured in May's deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas, are now out of the hospital. University Health posted this video on Twitter that showed the final patient from the shooting released yesterday. They shared video of 10-year-old Maya Zamora walking down a hallway and handing out roses to the nurses and other staff. Those around her, as you saw, clapped and chanted and cheered as she made her exit. Zamora was in the hospital 67 days after she was injured by the gunman who opened fire inside Rhode Elementary School back in May. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed. The Uvalde mass shooting was America's deadly school shooting since 2012. A former NFL player indicted on charges for murdering his girlfriend and tampering with evidence, specifically a corpse. Kevin Ware Jr. is accused of murdering his 29-year-old girlfriend, Taylor Pomasaki, who was last seen at a party in April of 2021. Her body was discovered in December. Now, if convicted, the former 49ers player could face life in prison. Turning now to consumer news. 3 batches of Banana Boat's SPF 30 hair and scalp sunscreen now recalled due to traces of a cancer-causing chemical. Edgewell Personal Care says the voluntary recall was issued after some of the products showed traces of benzene. Now, the affected sunscreen lots have expiration dates of December 2022, February 2023, or April of 2024. The company says while it's not an ingredient in the products, the review showed it came from the propellant that sprays the product out of the can. Thankfully, no illnesses related to the recall have been reported. Now, you may have noticed Instagram is walking back some new updates after getting slammed by lots of users, including members of the Kardashian family. The app's been criticized for trying to look more like TikTok, filling your feed with short videos, ads, and recommended content from strangers instead of still photos and posts from friends and people that you follow. Now, a viral post circulated online calling to, quote, make Instagram Instagram again. Instagram's chief said it will take a big step back and regroup, and said failing every once in a while means you're thinking big. Parent company Meta says it will stop testing full screen posts and decreasing recommended posts. Now, if you think airplane seats are too small, this is now your chance to speak up. The U.S. Congress is directing the FAA to establish minimum dimensions for airplane seats. It's not your imagination. Seats have gotten smaller over the past few years as airplanes try to fit more passengers into the plane. Now, the FAA has announced it will open a 90-day comment period to allow feedback on airplane seat size standards. It's a pressing issue for plus-size travelers, which goes well beyond comfort for being a safety issue when a plane has to be evacuated. Now, the details about how the public can comment on airplane seat standards are expected to be published in next week's Federal Register.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Kelly Bates.
Hey, so what could be the best news to follow up this really fantastic summer day? How about we get to do it all over again tomorrow? So our weekend is actually going to end up being one of the nicest weekends that we've had this summer season. That's saying a lot because we've had a bunch of really nice ones. Today we actually topped out at 88. I know it didn't really feel that hot because we had that lower humidity. Really spectacular conditions. We began at 71. Now our normals or averages 66 and 84. And here are your records in case you're curious. The record high still stands. It's been in the book since 1917 of 97, and your record low 53 is from 1968 of 53 degrees. Here are your sunrise and sunset times as well, and we are still very much in a rain deficit for the month of July and for the entire year. So here's our look in Providence. We've got a little fuzzy glow out here as we're overlooking the city. We have temperatures that are down into the 70s downtown. We also have 71 in Newport. We're into the 60s as we look towards Taunton and also towards New Bedford. 71 in Westerly, and we're already down into the 60s in Smithfield. And we are expecting that temperatures across the region to drop into the lower to mid 60s as we go overnight. Here's a look at our dew points, and the reason why this is important, it tells us a lot of information as pertains to the summertime. Dew points of 60 or higher tend to indicate we're bringing in some muggies, but dew points in the 50s in the summer in southern New England means days like today. Beautiful, gorgeous weather, nice and comfortable and dry. It's nice to just be outside for the summer rather than hiding in the AC. But unfortunately, those days are coming back as we go to next week. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's enjoy the nice stuff while it's here. Winds are slackening, light to calm across the region. At the same time, we have an area of high pressure in charge that's giving us a clear sky. So a clear sky, light to calm winds during the overnight allows any temperatures, any radiation we got from the sun from the day to go back out into space, dropping temperatures, and that's called radiational cooling, and that's what we're going to do tonight. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, we are expecting to start with sunshine, but we will likely build in clouds as we go through the day. Now, we're not expecting anything from these clouds, so any plans that you have for Sunday should be just fine. In fact, any precipitation looks like it's going to be holding off until we get into the week ahead. So here's how your Sunday is going to be planned out. Starting in the lower to mid 60s very early on. By noon, we should be on the doorstep of 80. Just a couple of puffy clouds, same for 5. And temperatures will top out at the low 80s at the beaches. And we are looking to go warmer in the interior, but not by a whole lot. So your forecast for the beach tomorrow for your planning purposes include beachside highs that will be in the lower 80s as well. Our surf is low, 2 to 3 feet. That's a low rip current risk. But your UV index will be high, a 9 out of 10. And that means you can burn as quickly as 20 minutes if you're unprotected. So sunblock required at the beaches for tomorrow. Here's how muggies are going to be doing. Tomorrow, we're going to be very comfortable. This is our comfortable zone here. But once we get by Sunday into Monday, we are going to start to see our dew points crank up. And it is going to be very humid by the time we get to, I'd say, early Tuesday morning. After that, we're going to bring through a strong cold front, and that's what causes the drop in the humidity. And then we start to ratchet the humidity back up once we hit midweek. And that's going to coincide with the potential of a heat wave. I'll show you that in your extended forecast in just a second. But for tomorrow, we are looking at mostly sunny skies. It will be pleasant, comfortable, and dry. Seasonable, too, with a high temperature near 86. Our extended forecast shows that we'll still be in the 80s for Monday. Tuesday, we're going to ride the fine line of whether or not we're going to be going into the heat wave territory. But it looks like we should be there for Wednesday, Thursday, and for Friday. Ian?
Thank you, Kelly. The Red Sox free fall continues. Will they add at the trade deadline or try and stop the bleeding or start selling off for parts? And what do Little League, Rhode Island, and the Jungle, the mighty Jungle, have in common? Find out during our coverage of the state championship game from Little League. Stick around. Sports is next.
It's your sleight of hand. It's your great escape. It's your all-day, all-night, tech-savvy magic carpet ride. The Hyundai Elantra. It's your journey. Own it. Lease a 2022 Elantra for $189 a month or get $500 bonus cash with new inventory arriving daily. Hurry in.
Attorney Stephen Dennis, is your employer telling you that you can't treat with your own doctor when you get injured? Is your employer not providing you with a memorandum of agreement? Don't get confused. Don't get tied down. Don't get buffaloed. Don't get steered the wrong way. Call me now before it's too late. 401-595-4571. That's my personal cell line. 401-595-4571. Protect yourself. Call me now.
I'm going in.
Hey Amanda, how much does a new kitchen typically cost?
Here's a calculator from a kitchen center in Providence.
We love our smart devices, but sometimes our questions can be complicated.
Hey Amanda, should we redo our kitchen or just buy a new house?
That's a step above my pay grade, Lisa.
When tricky financial questions come up, ask Washington Trust. Because sometimes the most important connection is a human one. Washington Trust. Trusted advisor since 1800.
The Supreme Court's dangerous attack on abortion rights is a call to action. They're coming for marriage equality and voting rights next. I'm Shannon Liss-Reardon. For decades, I've led the legal battles and forged new law to protect your rights here in Massachusetts and around the country. I have spent my career winning the toughest fights. Now I'll be your champion in the courtroom. I'm Shannon Liss-Reardon. As Massachusetts' next Attorney General, I will fight for you, and together we will win.
Whether you're using this dock or this dock, this ramp or this ramp, you need the ultimate work and play truck, the Toyota Tacoma Access Cab. And right now, the Toyota Summer MPG event, you could save with 1.9% APR financing on Tacoma. That includes 2 years no-cost maintenance and Toyota Safety Sense. Tacoma, named Best Buy of the Year among mid-size pickups. So see your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
I'm Doreen Scanlon. Join me for Good Morning Providence weekdays starting at 5 a.m.
Now, ABC 6 Sports.
After failing to force a punt in their final 2 games against division champion Buffalo last year, the Patriots had a desperate need for speed heading into the offseason. They worked to address that in the draft, focusing on offensive and defensive skill positions. One of those picks, hoping to make the Pats faster, is corner Jack Jones. Zeroing in on Jack Jones. No, not Mac Jones or Jonathan Jones.
I told Jack I'm the only J. Jones, so you got to figure it out. Family reunion, everybody bring a dish, we'll have some fun.
Or another corner, Marcus Jones, who was also drafted this past offseason. It's Jack Jones that's seeing his stock rise in his first NFL training camp.
I'm still getting my feet wet. I'm just hoping to get 1% better every day.
Some rookies come in shy. Jones is just the opposite.
I'm a confident guy no matter where I'm at. I'm an athlete. I can play any position on the field, and I'm gonna play where I'm put.
Drafted out of Arizona State after being dismissed from Southern California for academic issues, Jones also pled guilty to breaking into a Panda Express after hours during his time in college.
We've spent a lot of time with Jack to try and get comfortable and understand the different situations that he's felt, and feel good about kind of getting to know him and understanding those situations to have a process in place to be able to add him to our program.
Jones and the Patriots are moving past that. He's leaning on those that know the defense best, like Malcolm Butler, who's back for a second go-around in Foxborough.
He helped me a lot. Yeah, he helped me a lot. Yeah, I sat next to him in a meeting, so, I'm asking him a lot of questions.